What do you get when you want to shrink perfection? Well, it looks like Fractal Design had that brilliant idea and came up with the defined Nano S. But will shrinking perfection be a good idea? Let's find out. The Define S from Fractal Design. What a wonderful case that was for enthusiast-oriented features. If you don't know what we're talking about or you need a refresher, click up here to watch that video. But today what we're here for is the Define Nano S, basically a nice smaller version of the standard Define S, and it takes mini ITX boards. The Define Nano S comes in two variants, one with a windowed side panel and one without. Let's go over the exterior of the case. We have the iconic brushed front panel that we're all used to seeing. For the front panel I/O, we have a headphone port, microphone port, reset button, power button, and two USB 3.0 ports. And just like its bigger brother, the Nano's front panel pops off, revealing some sound dampening foam on the inside of the panel. Just behind that is a dust filter that is attached by magnets and swings away from the case for easy cleaning. Here is where you see one of the included Dynamic Series 140mm GP14 fans. Up top we see that Fractal opted to go with their Moduvent system. This time on the Nano it's a single solid piece and not multiple ones. The Moduvent is also padded with sound dampening material. On the left hand side we have the windowed side panel, on the right hand side we have a plain side panel, at the back we have the motherboard I/O, a 120mm fan, two PCI slots, and the power supply slot. On the inside we find the mounting holes for water cooling pumps and reservoirs. The plate here on the bottom is also compatible with a 3.5-inch hard drive. And on the back, we find room for one 3.5-inch hard drive, two SSD mounts, and cable management Velcro. So in total, the Define Nano S has room for two 3.5-inch drives and two 2.5-inch drives. On to the building experience. Now, I kind of went overboard with my chosen parts that I wanted to stuff in here, and in hindsight, I should have gone with some other components like the motherboard and power supply. That's actually a really important thing to do when speccing out a build, is to make sure things are compatible and they fit together. First off, I replaced the two included Dynamic Series fans with 5 Fractal Venturi fans. Next, I added a Fractal 1000 watt power supply. Now Fractal does recommend using a standard length power supply, but of course, I didn't read that part on the website and boy did I suffer. The power supply doesn't fit really easily into the case unless you thread the cables through the grommets first. That was poor planning mistake number 1 on my part. Next, I installed a Gigabyte Z170 motherboard. This was poor planning mistake number 2. This is nothing against Fractal or Gigabyte, but this particular case and motherboard combo doesn't fit well together. The SATA ports, USB 3 port headers, and front panel headers were quite the venture to plug things into. Why? Well, 1, the USB 3 header is in a weird location, making the cable management a bit less tidy on this side of the case. 2, the front headers were also in a weird spot where my slightly larger than average fingers had somewhat of a tedious time plugging them in. And 3, the SATA ports. Man, it would have been one thing if they were straight connectors, I might have had an easier time, but these were right-angled ports and the grommet for those ports didn't really line up with the ports on the motherboard to begin with, so again, plan out your builds. I was able to get the SATA connectors plugged in afterwards, but I had to use SATA ports 5 and 6 to get it all connected, and again, it ends up not looking too tidy. As for other hardware, there wasn't too much hassle. The Nano S, as you can see, fits longer video cards like this 295X2 here. For coolers, I put in an NH-U9S because of its shorter height, but you have about 160mm to work with for the Nano S with the windowed version, and about 162mm to work with for the non-windowed version. As for cable management space, I didn't have too much trouble with it since Fractal does include their Velcro ties for tying cables together neatly. However, I was a bit surprised that there weren't really any zip tie notches that we usually see, but obviously when you shrink perfection, some compromises have to take place. So, was shrinking the Define S into the Define Nano S a good idea? Well, apart from my stupidity of not checking parts, I would say yes. For a compact case, the Nano S can house a whole whack of hardware. It can take longer video cards, fit multiple fans for better airflow, has spacing for enthusiast-grade water cooling parts, and you still have space for 2 full hard drives and 2 SSDs. All this is available for just $100 or less, and that's in Canadian. So that about wraps it up for this overview of the Fractal Design Define Nano S. You can click over here or the link in the description for more details. Thank you so much for watching. Click over here for previous videos, or just right about here. And right over here is our Twitter. You can give us a follow over there. But as always, don't forget to like the video, comment down below for fans with benefits, and subscribe for more like this from NCIX. We'll see you later.